There we go. Guess what? It's Wednesday.
VSC day.
Yay! Welcome to the virtual shopping channel. Yes.
Yay. The day we get to play with new fun.
We get to show you new stuff or stuff we just haven't shown you yet, or, you know, as some of our knitters call it, the very dangerous day. Because yummies.
It's very dangerous for us too.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to show it off, Rebecca has to start a project with it. And, you know, then we get really cool colors that I'm like, ooh. And I have to play with it. And
ooh. And the yarn we're showing off today, the new to us, kind of like I put it on Instagram. I've also put it in some of the Wakanda Forever kits. Now my Wakanda Forever is not here on the table, but it doesn't have this yarn in it. Anyway, I'm being mysterious. So, welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
VSC edition, not the Adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
Not
That's
quite.
That's Tuesday.
We're not romping around as much on Wednesday. We just sell you stuff on Wednesday. I have a new project that I started that I'm not even going to show you. I'll probably be done by tomorrow, but I can't even show you because it has nothing to do with the mountain of yarn in front of us. So. Trying to be good.
Yarn lung.
Yarn lung. That's me all the time. Yarn lung. And it was a really long day yesterday, so if I'm a little behind the 8 ball this morning, bear with me. I'm Rebecca. Speaking of me, I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in glorious, trying to be sunny, Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there.
All right. Yeah, this is maybe the last day of sun for a little while because we might be getting the remnants of Sally over the next couple days. So, yeah. So, hang on a sec.
Hydration. It's on our shop
Breathing
bags.
and hydration. It's on our shop bags that I mailed some of our shop bags out to people today, and some people got them yesterday from the extravaganza we did over the weekend.
Local yarn store day knit-along.
Yes, people got codes for discounts, and if they spent enough, they got a free shop bag, which we still need to account for in our inventory. But that's okay. We took notes. We'll try to do fun things when we do our Saturday knit-alongs. It probably won't be quite as extravagant as our local yarn store knit-along, but stay tuned to the next one. I believe I scheduled it for October 24th.
Yeah.
If that's a Saturday, that's it. Yay. Anyway, more details as we get closer to that. Hydration.
Hydration. It's a great thing.
Oh, it's that time of year. Okay, so Liz is actually knitting with this new yarn, and I have started. We had this neutral color before we got our whole color palette in, and I went, ooh, we had to guess. So here's the fun thing. Without yarn reps coming by, which we're okay with no yarn reps coming by, but the downside of that is that we can't see real colors of yarn.
We have to play the same games y'all do when you shop online.
Yes. We try to get as close to real color as we can.
Yeah.
And some of the yarn websites are just jacking up colors or not trying for true color. And I don't blame them. It's not like I'm not going to shop with a yarn company because what they pictured online does not match what comes. It's hard. I recognize that greatly. But I stumbled across one of my suppliers, Knitting Fever. I stumbled across a post from another yarn shop on my Instagram feed that talked about this thing called metal tweed. And I went, what? That looks like fun. And here's the thing is it's got sparkle in it, metal. It's got a little sparkle in it. That's really hard to cut to show up on camera. So I wasn't even like, ooh, I like the sparkle. I was like, ooh, it might have sparkle. I got to check this out. So we got a couple of colors to test, which are the colors involved in our samples. And then we went, oh, we need to get a whole palette of color. By palette of color, this is always an interesting thing. We had someone call yesterday who said, well, the website said this is a different yarn. You carry such and such yarn. And she wanted a really specific color. just because we carry a yarn or a brand does not mean we carry all of that. It's really tough because some yarns will have so many colors. It's hard to bring them all in, or even if they don't have a limited, like a dozen colors, we might only pick 8 or 10, because some colors will be really close to each other, and or not. But we have limited space in the shop, even though it looks lovely behind us and whoa, so much stuff. Limited amount of space.
Yeah, like looking when the yarn reps come, there's some yarns that have like 30 plus colors for a palette
for one yarn
from
this company, and then they have so many yarns. So.
And it's like we have a few yarns that we have an extensive palette for, but most of them we have between 8 and 10 colors.
Some of them we might get the whole palette in, but it's not usual. And that you'll find that at a lot of yarn shops. Some might be able to carry all the colors of a yarn, but they won't have that many yarns then. Or they have to be giant, like warehouse type places.
Yep.
And that's not us. We are not a magic box, as I like to say. But to get back to it,
pretty palette.
We picked a pretty palette. We're happy with it. We had to gamble, and we're very happy with it. So anyway, like suspense. Oh no!
Dun dun dun
dun dun dun. But here's the cool thing about this yarn. So this yarn, and Liz, if you can grab, well, here, I got a ball right now. This is called Gedifra Metal Tweed, soft metallic tweed. And Gedifra, we have a big distributor we can get lots of different yarns from. So we've never gotten any yarn from this specific company before, Gedifra. But I was like, let's just try it.
It's soft and squishy.
It's soft,
even in the bowl.
So Liz, can you read the fiber content for us?
It is 28% alpaca, 27% acrylic, 13% wool, 13% cotton, 10% nylon, and 9% polyester, which is probably the silver thread or the gold thread.
So there's a lot of different fibers in this, is the first thing to mention, which is kind of fun. And what I would describe is we've got the main yarn, which has a little bit of texture to it, because the metal the metallic thread runs around and gives it a little bit of a mini bumpy texture. I'll show you in close up in a second. So we've got the core of yarn, which I want to say is probably mostly the wool and cotton. And then we've got the little bit of metallic so it's got sparkle. Yay. And then it's got a fluffy halo. It's fuzzy because they're saying soft metallic tweed. That's the alpaca, giving it a fuzzy halo. And then there's flecks of color in it, the tweed, which is most likely the acrylic. A lot of yarns that have tweed in them, it's acrylic little bits and flecks. So like this yarn, this is the graphite, right? So if I hold this really close to the camera, you can see the core, and you might even be able to see anything that looks a little bit shiny is the metallic. And then this specific skein, I'm trying to hold the back of it so you can see there's a couple of different flecks of tweed.
It's easier to see on the iridescent.
Yes, it is. So this is neutral on the dark side. That's neutral on the light side. Look at those flecks.
It has some of the coolest pops.
So it's fuzzy and tweedy and metallic. It's like all these yummy things in one. So if that excites you, this is the yarn for you.
Our neutral palette.
And so this one's called Coffee. And I am knitting with the coffee. I'm making the Glimmer poncho. Don't have much of it done yet. It's got some lace work in it. And you can see over here, the stockinette, how both the sparkle and the tweed, the bright colors are not totally going to show up on camera, but the tweedy flecks are just fun. Like I would say, so the coffee is very much a light brown, tan with white. And the flecks, when I'm looking at what I knit, I can see some green and some blue and some purple and some red. And
I think there's even some tealy specks.
There's little tealies at times too.
Yeah.
Not all the flecks will be different, will be the same colors in all the yarns. But in some ways, when I'm looking around, I'm seeing some of the same flecks. The color will look different depending on the yarn that it has been thrown into, So, which is really fun, I think.
We have
yay novelty fun yarn.
Okay, so all of those have a white
core?
Yes. And yeah, there's one color to the core and one color to the fuzzy alpaca, and then the Tweedy Flex are all bunches of colors.
The yellow has kind of a white, it's a gold.
That one's called gold, and it's orangey halo, but yes, another white core, right?
Then that's black. That's black. That's
this
not
one's
white.
green.
It's like, yeah.
So this, I'll take this one.
Okay.
This one's called grass. And you've got, it's not showing up well on camera, but
the metal is.
Yeah, ooh, look at the fleckies and the sparklies. The core is more of an olive grassy green, kind of.
Yeah.
And then the halo is much more of an olive drab. So the green is more in the yarn core itself than the halo. The halo is kind of a brown fuzzy.
Then we have indigo.
And indigo, I feel like that one refers, the core is like an indigo blue. And the fuzzy
it's hard to tell because like it's a pretty bright blue in real person.
It's very bright blue.
And then you've got the purple halo around it with all the little
What
flecks.
fun colors. If you like bright, that is your go-to.
And if you're like me and like dark and broody.
I'm letting her do her dark and broody.
We have smoke is the dark teal, and it still doesn't show up right on camera.
We got smoke thinking it was going to be an off black, and it's a really dark teal.
And then cherry, which is a pretty dark red. They have a black
red with a black halo.
A black halo, and then the blue with black halo.
It's just, they're fun.
And
they're
this, really I'm holding them double, the red and the red and the teal, and it's hard to tell.
It's all dark and broody, but it's not quite as dark and broody.
And I'm throwing other yarns in there. That's why you see the stripes.
Just making a hot mess.
I'm making a hot mess. Sorry.
It's yarn. Who cares? So here's the fun thing about this. So this, if I hold this up from far away, they're calling this a 4. They're calling this a worsted weight. And when I'm holding it up, it will look and feel much thinner than a worsted weight.
It's the yardage, just for people who are wondering, it's 225 meters for 50 grams.
For 50 grams instead of 100 grams. It's a light yarn. It doesn't weigh a lot, so you can cram a lot of yardage into a small amount of weight.
But it'll be super soft and squishy if you knit it like it's worsted yarn.
There's a lot of yarns now, especially the novelty new yarns, that they may look thinner than the weights they're assigned to, but they want you to knit it on a bigger needle and let it fluff and let it, like, not constrain it by knitting it on a needle that might fit the wraps per inch that this makes, if you're a wraps per inch person.
I'm doing mine double stranded on a 10.875, so a 7.5 millimeter needle.
I'm knitting on a 6, which is what they recommend, which is a 6 is kind of the US 6, which is a 4 millimeter needle, is what you would knit like a DK weight with, which is the weight that is even one smaller than worsted. But the gauge, they think, like, this is an enigma, because they say if you knit with a 6 with this, you'll get 20 stitches to 4 inches, which is a classic worsted weight gauge, but it's not using a classic worsted weight needle. So if you're someone who has to, like, everything's got to fit a category, this breaks a lot of rules, but it's wonderful and fun.
I'm loving it's light and squishy, even double stranded.
Technically, when it has that many yards, what was it, 225 meters, which is, 250, 260 yards for 50 grams. That means for 100 grams, which is a classic measurement of how to package yarn. That means we're looking at over 500 yards. Almost 600 yards. Well, no.
500.
My math, brain not working. A little over 500 yards for 100 grams, which would put it at, like, if it weighed what it was supposed to because of something that is spun in a classical sense, would put it at, like, a lace weight.
Heavy lace weight, yeah.
But it's not. It's the halo, everything else. It's just the way it's constructed. It's fluffy, and it's not the chainette, but it's fluffy and light.
Anything with a halo should be knit a little bit looser so that the hairs have a chance to grab air bubbles and warm you up. And
by the way, by halo is the very fancy term for fuzzy. Things that are fuzzy. You want to let you don't want to rein in the fuzz. So anyway, so we have all these lovely colors. And if you look at the Wakanda Forever kits that we made, so the big Nakia's Infinity Scarf, we made some combos that use this because what fun, right? It'd be fun. So yeah. So if you're searching for a tweedy yarn and you like shiny too, it's like it's everything jammed into one. It's like an extra special yarn. So we're really excited to have it in the shop. It is machine washable, believe it or not, which I think is pretty cool.
That's a plus.
So it's a plus. It's got the little 30C. I don't know if that means hot or cold or whatever.
30 Celsius, it means you can wash it off.
There you go. I don't do Celsius. She doesn't do math. I don't do Celsius. So, and we're selling it for $14.50 a skein. So honestly, I think that's not a bad price for all this yumminess packed into one. It's already like on the website.
Soft and squishy and washable. It's like you were talking about
the magic yarn.
It's almost the magic
unicorn yarn.
Yeah.
That when people come up and they're like, "Well, I want something that is machine washable but soft, but and not wool." I mean, this has some wool in it, so it doesn't fit everyone's unicorn definitions, but it's pretty cool.
I want something that's soft and squishy. We don't know yet if it'll pill because we haven't played with it that long.
It's fuzzy. It's gonna pill.
It's machine washable.
But it's machine washable. I mean, that's the ultimate unicorn yarn, is something that doesn't pill. And Liz's
soft and fluffy.
Liz's response to that is plastic tubing.
Yeah.
If you don't want it to pill. Most fibers are going to, when you give them friction, something is going to happen to them that you probably won't like. It's if you need plastic, and if you don't want that to happen.
I've likened it to do you want absorbent towels or do you want fluffy towels? Because fluffy towels aren't necessarily absorbent and absorbent towels aren't fluffy. But it's the enigma that you can't have both.
People want all the magic unicorns. Anyway, so we have we want to refresh you on some yarns we've had in new colors. But before we do that, to get it out of the way, I want to also always have a notion. Yay, notions. And I had a tough time deciding today, because big ones are hard with all this fluff and stuff everywhere to show you. But something we haven't put online that I find very functional are stitch holders.
Stitch holders.
Now, when do you use stitch holders? These are like the classic. We have a variety pack of 3 different sizes from Knitter's Pride. They look like giant safety pins. That's the classic old-fashioned stitch holder. And I don't have one out right now, but you open them up like a safety pin, you slide your stitches on. When might you use a stitch holder, Liz?
I would use a stitch holder for sleeves, or like your Wakanda Forever. You had a segment that you had to put that on a stitch holder.
Put it on waste yarn. Sometimes
a
pattern will say, and this is great. Instead of waste yarn is all floppy and hard to get things on and off of, but waste yarn is great if you don't have anything else. With this rigid, slide stitches on, hold them instead of having to bind them off, so you can go back and work them later.
When I drop my braids on my hats, I drop stitches, like 4 stitches or whatever, and I have to go all the way. I don't want to go all the way to the cast off or cast on edge. So I will put a stitch holder in there to secure those until I can go lock them in place later.
When I make fingerless gloves, the thumb, when we get to this point, you put the thumb stitches on a stitch holder or waste yarn, and you keep going, and you come back and put these back on a needle, and you finish. When Liz is talking about sleeves, like a top down, I left all my stuff at home today because I decided this once I got here. But putting you get to this point, you take the sleeves and put them on holders, the stitches that are for the sleeves, instead of binding them off and picking them back up and having seams and all that kind of stuff. So these are the classic, what I grew up with, what I used for the most part. There are some that are straight with caps on both ends. We have those. These are the ones for the classic version that we will put on the website. It's only $3.75 for a pack of 3, which is great.
They're great.
They're great. The downside of these are very affordable. The downside of these is sometimes, especially if leave your stitches on holders for a while, it can pop open. The little safety pin closure can go bling and things can fall off.
I think the first time I did sleeves, I did 2 really long ones.
Like these long ones or longer.
Or yeah, really long ones holding, you know, half of each sleeve.
Mhm.
But the downside to that
And a
is
sleeve, you can have them go all the way
Yeah.
around. But
the downside to that is you can't try on the sweater without
yeah,
wiggling something else
these
through
are
it.
the upside is also the downside. These are rigid.
Yeah.
And so again, you don't have the floppy waste yarn that you're trying to find and get back on the needle. But yeah, you can't stick your arm through this if you're trying to try it on your sweater to make sure it fits.
Which you have a fix for.
These are my favorite of all time stitch holders. And I'll show them up close and I'll take them out of the package. They come in small and large. And they're like, you almost can't see them through the plastic here. There's the plastic cable, much like the plastic cable on a circular needle, with what looks kind of like a sewing needle on one end and a rubber cap on the other. I'm gonna take out the small. So the large one says it's for 24 to 36 inches because they're kind of adjustable. This has a long cable on it. It's $7.75. So comparative, it's over twice the price of this. This one is also $7.25 if I just said $7.25. And this is 9 to 16 inches. So let me show you. There is a rubber stopper. See that this tells you the size. The pink one is small, the yellow one is large. But it's a rubber stopper with a little hole that fits this perfectly. This is how you cap it off. Is you can put the needle in there. You can actually put the needle and pull. Look, that is adjustable. So
I've cinched it tight, but then if I need to try on the sleeve, I can just.
It's cool. It's adjustable. It's flexible, but it's not wibbly wobbly like waste yarn. So let's say that my pattern said to take this lace work part and put it on a stitch holder. Let me show you real fast what I do. I would take the lace part to this side of my needle, which I need to tighten my interchangeable needles. And I would just slip it purlwise, but I'm slipping them onto the needle. And I would just go whoop, 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 and keep going. Vamp Liz, no I'm kidding. I would take off, I'm gonna go up to the stitch marker that's here. And I'm gonna show you what would happen. And again, the sewing needle can function like a knitting needle tip for easy transfer. If you were going to use waste yarn, I would put the waste yarn on a sewing needle to do the same thing.
And it's small enough, you can use it for like
itty bitty yarn.
Itty bitty yarn or itty bitty needle stitches, you know, like, yeah.
All right, so I have gotten up to the stitch holder here. And now this is all on my, stitch marker, language. The whole lace section is on my stitch holder, and I could leave it big like this, or I could keep pulling and I could have it. So for thumbs, even though this is long, for thumbs on a fingerless mitten, this is great. You could cap it back through there again or just leave it hanging. But all my stitches, I'm not going to lose any of my stitches. And when I'm ready to put them back on a needle, I'm going to put it back on the tip of my sewing needle. I know that it's hard to see. And then I'm going to slide them back onto my knitting needle so I can keep going. That way, I won't lose track of any stitches, and I'll finish my sentence in a second. And I think it's easier to control, again, than waste yarn that has absolutely no structure.
It's nice having that bit of, I mean, it's only like an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches long of metal, but it's rigid enough that it's easier to pick up or to put back. Like, you have something to.
In a pinch, if I didn't have anything at home, I'd use waste yarn and a sewing needle. But given the choice, stitch holders.
Yeah.
So And I'm almost putting this back. So we're going to wrap up today by showing you both some new colors of some of our favorite yarns that we got in that I don't think we've talked about yet. So you should know they exist. You may or may not have noticed them on my Instagram feed a while back, or if you went to the online shop. I'm pretty sure everything is in the online shop, and if not, I'll get it there. So let's start with what's on the table, and then we have a box on the floor. What? So Fyberspates. Good old Fyberspates is our go-to. It's our Madeline Tosh adjacent yarn, if you know of and like Madeline Tosh. The 4-ply is our fingering weight.
I will refresh on
the I just wanted to say the DK is our DK. Vivacious. So we have like Walk in the Wood kits. We have all. If someone needs a DK weight yarn for something yummy, we go to that one for the tonals. If someone needs a fingering weight, either by itself or to pair with something, we've used them in our Calliope kits. We go with the 4-ply.
Yep. So just to rehash on Vivacious 4-ply, it is 100% superwash merino. They're recommending a US 1 to 3. It is 399 yards per 100 grams, which if you're looking for the 437 yard standard, it's a little short.
It's a little short of usual sock weight, fingering weight, and there's no nylon in it. So if you choose to make socks out of it, no, there's no nylon.
It is machine washable. It says every skein is unique. So even though there's a dye lot, you can get different variation.
Although
slight.
We had Rebecca was here with Malabrigo, I think, right? And those skein to skein, I think, had more variety than these. These are somewhat consistent, but since they're tonal and they're hand dyed, if you're doing a big project, you might want to alternate skeins. For
Vivacious or DK, it's 100% superwash merino, recommending a size US 6. It's 251 yards per 115 grams.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But 250 yards.
Yep.
It's kind of a heavy DK.
Oh,
I've used it for worsted weight patterns and been happy with it. So
here you were asking 30 degrees Celsius. They actually wrote the Fahrenheit on this tag. It says machine washable at 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Still kind of warm. On a wool cycle. Yep. So we have new colors.
Yes. Let's start with the 4-ply since you listed that first. So fingering weight. We got funds. There's funds we want to get that that weren't in stock that we maybe will get in October. But that's a new yarn, dark and broody.
It's Halloween.
It's called Halloween.
It's like there's some brighter pops of orange, but it's dark orange with black.
Yeah. It's really pretty. It's all of these are a little brighter than I'm seeing on the camera right now.
I don't like orange. For some reason, this one and
it's got a brassy.
It's got a brassy,
nice tone to it. Here, since we're doing dark and broody.
Dark and broody, we picked another. We have Pebble Beach, which was blues and browns and grays, and we decided to go with a grays. This one's called Smoky Joe. It is browns, hints of browns with blacks and grays.
This is Pebble Beach, which we already had, which is more of a light gray. This it is smoky. It's, if you want a neutral that's darker, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Keep them close by because some of these we got in both the fingering and the DK. And it's always interesting to see the different bases. This is feeling Christmassy. Take down. It's not meant to be. But hey, Christmas is coming. I don't know.
We had some very Julie tone greens or very bright greens. And we decided to expand our greens in both of them. This is Everglade, and it looks more like a foresty green.
It's more of a foresty green.
It's got the light and dark greens.
This one's a blue green that we had before. This one is called sea green, and that's evergreen. It's much more of a warm green. Yeah. And then we have the warm brights, but this one's dark.
Yeah.
So if you like foresty greens, so nice. So nice.
And so I've been doing all of them. I might as well do this one. This one is, it's a light red. It's not.
I don't even have something to compare that to.
Purple. It's just red. It's called Strawberry.
It's a much brighter. It's almost an orangey red, but not quite.
Yeah.
Not
And
quite.
it's tonal. It's
If
really
you like
pretty.
red, that is wonderful. Okay, so DK, we also got the smoky in the DK, which is wonderful. So here is a comparison of fingering DK. The color will be will take to the yarn in a slightly different way, slightly different texture, but same overall tones, right? Here is the Everglade.
Everglade.
I always want to call it Evergreen.
Yeah.
Here's the Evergreen in DK versus
Glade.
the fingering. Thank you. Glade.
Mhm.
Everglade, Everglade, Everglade. I'll say it a bunch of times. And then we
My
haven't
favorite.
gotten the strawberry yet, but this one, this one's on camera is going to look similar to another yarn we have, but it's not. It's her favorite. We've been wanting to get this for weather. It's called Spiced Plum.
We have
And it's
plum
this
imps
rosy.
that's darker.
Yeah.
This one's light.
This one, and it's a little more consistent color. It's like this rosy, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so pretty.
It's a very rosy pink.
Yeah.
It's
Here, you hold that.
It's pink.
Let me get
She's getting the plum imps.
so like these are two other colors that might look close to that, but this one has tones of the spiced plum, but it's also got some really bright magentas, and this is just magenta. So let's see if yeah, you can see the difference. This one's a little more muted, and it's so pretty. And hopefully we're getting this in fingering in October. It was out right now. These are really bright. If you like jewel tones, go with the Plum Imps has some darker stuff too. And then the mixed magenta is just fuchsia. So we have one more thing to do, but anyway.
So we got a box.
Yay! And yeah, you remind me to do our editing. Ooh.
It's Feederbrook. Because everybody
'Cause-
keeps buying Feederbrook.
Because here, let me.
Our sad Feederbrook wool.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look as sad.
This
but
doesn't look as sad as it is, but like, can you see on the top there how a lot of those colors up top only have like one skein, maybe, and there's more down here that you can't tell. Like, there's only one of this, and we got more. Okay.
Okay, so I'm just gonna reach in. Ooh, this is refraction, which I think we're out of.
No, we got one.
Oh.
We got one. Refraction, super. This has some bright blues and greens and teals, and oh, it's. So
It
pretty.
looks not completely different. You want to grab the refraction? It looks different.
It's always different batch to batch. So I'm seeing more purple in the one skein we have left than I am in the new one. There's a lighter purple in it. It's unpredictable. So when we relist these, we may or may not be able to rephotograph them, but know that if it doesn't look like what's pictured, it really is the same colorway. It really is. So
these.
he's
hold on.
hugging them.
Well,
That's specific heat.
I know they're all specific heat, but one looks pinkier than the other ones.
Old specific heat, which is not like the specific heat that is in my shawl, my night shift. But see,
all of these are specific heat as well. So
this may not be all of them, but this is kinetic energy, which is the neutral that is in my Wakanda Forever. That honestly, I was like, yeah, I don't know, it's neutral, yeah, but it seemed to go with my colors. I love it knit up. It's fantastic knit up. This looks like it is kinetic energy as well. Hang on. Real fast. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Since we're talking about it, this is my kinetic energy knit up right here. It's so pretty. So from this to this, it's so pretty.
We sold out of oxidation.
Yesterday.
Shout out to Martha
this weekend.
Stoneman.
Yep. So
we have new ones.
new batch of oxidation. Yes. Ooh. What is that? This is Theta. Nice light purple. You gotta love that. We're just gonna build a mountain here.
I want to say this is Flashpoint.
Yeah, Flashpoint. there's a bright blue, there's bright orange and yellows in that. Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous.
It's got some dark and broody with really bright spots.
Mm-hmm. This is another refraction.
Yep.
This is not
Ew.
These ones though, I'm pretty sure are
that
reflection instead of refraction. Yours have labels.
Oh.
Those have labels.
This says luminous flux on this one.
Oh, so
which is not luminous flux.
well, we're gonna figure this out. She might have changed her colorway. I don't know.
This is not labeled.
This is
TEX, thermal expansion.
thermal expansion, but brighter than the last round of thermal expansion that we have. We only have like one left,
yeah.
But it's different every time. It's part of why I love it. It's a love frustration at the same time.
I think this is Event Horizon.
Yes, some of these don't have stickers on them. We'll put stickers on them because we know what colors they should be. When I contacted her last week, this is potential energy, which is like kinetic energy, but it's more green. When I contacted her last week, she was skeining some stuff up and letting it dry, and she may not have had time to sticker everything. That's potential energy.
Potential energy.
Yep. And we have a new batch of Absolute Zero. Yay! Which, you know, was this boring colorway that, no, not boring, I shouldn't say boring, but
it was a colorway that
neutral.
People were like,
Can't
it's
even see you over
neutrally
that.
blues.
And people were like, yeah, that's okay. And now it's getting a little bit more intense every time we get it, and it's just so pretty. I still want to make a sweater out of that.
I always thought that this and isotope would go really well together.
We got a lot of refraction. I might have ordered a lot of refraction because we didn't have it before, and we were almost out. Anyway, yeah, so yummy colors. I will try to get these all refreshed in terms of stock value online today if you want to go buy some. Remember, we have our sale throughout the month of September. First Moversary will save you 10% until the end of the month. Just to refresh, Feederbrook is Bluefaced Leicester, 100% Bluefaced Leicester. 260 yards for 100 grams, which is why the other DK, they're both considered DK. The Vivacious is more of a heavier DK. I believe they're $29.95. We haven't stickered any of these. Some of the ones with stickers are under there, but I'm pretty sure.
$29.95.
I know my yarn, some of them. So, yeah, we're going to say goodbye now because you probably can't even hear us because there's so much yarn around the microphone. It's absorbing all the sound. But, pretties, so many pretties,
so soft and squishy.
So yes, go enjoy our online shop, and we'll talk to you about things we're making tomorrow.
I'll be doing this.
She'll be busy. I have to put some of this in the system. So, you know.
Like us, subscribe. Tomorrow is Becky and Lizzie. Dear Becky and Lizzie.
You can write us to be on the show next week at Dear Becky and Lizzie, Sun Dragon Art and Fiber, 35 South Broad Street, Brevard, North Carolina, 28712.
Or email me if you have a pressing question and you need to get it answered tomorrow. I will check my email all the way up until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So Liz at sundragonartandfiber.com.
Yeah.
Just LIZ at.
Yeah.
Whole name of the business. Anyway, yeah, so much fun yarn. And we have to clean this up before indoor shopping happens this afternoon. So we got our work cut out for us. Subscribe, share, all those good things. I know we just said that, but I'm saying them again. Bye.
I am sinking into